silent but deadly.
No nonsense.
Funny.
He's talented.
Brilliant.
Winner.
He's dedicated. Fun. He's utterly loyal to Country Day.
And coach. So Tim, or Meniscus, as we referred to him lovingly, was like just the quintessential football coach, right? Just not a lot to say, but when he did have something to say, you better pay attention.
Both teaching and coaching together, just watching them grow from freshman year to senior year, both physically and mentally. Probably athletics even more so. These boys change immensely from 13 years old to 18 years old. Just seeing the progress is one of my favorite things. What made it easy to connect with all my players or students was the school's general ethos, that they welcome a wide range of backgrounds into the school. It's a very diverse community, and so it really wasn't hard. It doesn't take long for them to become fast friends, at least while they're at school, versus maybe another situation where it would be more this clique or that clique. I think it's less cliquey than most schools are because of that. On the athletic field, being able to connect with them was very easy. I had great assistant coaches. I can think of my son, who I coached for 4 years, and all of his friends, and how close they became. And then, you know, that from the football team, some of them played basketball, but the rest of them would be in the bleachers almost every basketball, certainly every home game, really supporting and being loud and giving themselves a name. And so I think that helps a lot, just the binding of the school. And the school insists on it. Oh, because teenagers, that's the one thing they see all the time. You know, you can't be strict about coming to class late if you're coming to class late. They'll pick up on that, and they may not even say anything, but I think it's important that, you know, you're the first one at practice, you're the first one in the classroom, and you get those tests graded and back in time, even though you don't really want to, and you show up on Monday with a game plan for the football team, that you're prepared, you're on time, and I think that translates to winning, both on the athletic field and whatever winning you define in the classroom. I'm not sure how it is now because I've been away for a while, but you know, back then everybody was doing something besides just teaching. They were running an activity, they were doing Model UN, or they were in charge of the newspaper, or coaching a variety of different sports, Science Olympiad, and I could go on and on about all the mock trial, and so everyone wasn't just teachers. The faculty parking lot was pretty full, even at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's rewarding. I feel like I didn't have a job, that it was a life, and many weekends were involved at the school, whether I was up here on Saturday coaching, but it never felt like work. It was always, it really was a kind of a life you chose. I don't know whether that was because I started at boarding school, where it literally was, and it just kind of carried over to a day school. It just didn't seem worthwhile to treat it just as a job. You just have to be kind of sneaky about it. It works out okay. My philosophy is apologize afterwards. To really get involved with the school beyond your own classroom in whatever capacity suits your abilities and your desires. It really is important to not just show up at 8 and leave at 3:30, the other kind of activity. That's the most rewarding. And you also establish an incredible amount of credibility with your students if you are involved in other activities. And supporting the other activities that are going on at the school. Go to the plays, go to the musicals, go to the games. And I think, you know, if you're an English teacher and your recalcitrant student sees you at a basketball game, I think you'll get more out of them. Yeah, my favorite moment from a coaching perspective was probably watching the winning run cross the plate in a state championship game. That was just pretty electric, and it's a big crowd there. So that was a very memorable experience. And from a teaching point of view, there's so many. Just having kids come out of the AP biology exam feeling confident that they were well prepared and things went well before they got the results, that they really felt like they were prepared and they knew a lot of biology. I always taught my class like everybody in my classroom was going to go into this field. And it wasn't just to kind of get them to become science literate, but to prepare them to be scientists. And obviously all of them aren't going to be, but I felt like that was important to do. Country Day Community is special because so many teachers have their kids here going to school, and there's a lot of value in that, and it's easier to become part of the community when you do that. And because we have students from, I don't know how many different zip codes it is now, it's like 56 or something when I taught here, if that's an accurate number, and just it's very important that this place becomes a community because they don't have, you know, the neighborhood and the local school. And I think making this a community involves the teachers, the coaches, the parents, and the students all in it together, you know, and having some pride in what we produce. The fact that, you know, we're considered, you know, one of the best schools around, I think helps the students and parents have pride in where they're sending their kids and the results forthcoming. I will not answer that question. Every team was really, I never had a team I regretted having. I suppose the teams that my son was on are my favorite ones because it was also his buddies who hung around at the house and I knew them better. I knew their parents better. But I mean, we've had incredibly accomplished teams. And sometimes the ones that achieved the most are the ones that ended up being the luckiest. You try to win a single elimination baseball tournament, 7 rounds. And it's just very difficult. You really need to have luck on your side. And sometimes the better team doesn't have the luck, and the team that's not quite as talented does. And I guess that's my answer. The challenge, a weekly challenge, getting out of the classroom onto the field, doing something physical. You know, even though on a Friday night you want to get home till 11 o'clock at night sometimes, and just putting all that time in made it valuable to me, and then realizing how important it was for the athletes themselves, how crucial it was to their life, even though we kind of know it's, you know, I mean, it is just high school sports, but it does matter a great deal. It's important. If you want to have fun at something, you have to take that thing seriously. I never thought of sports as being recreational or anything like that. The competition and the disappointment that comes with losing is just as important as the joy that comes with winning. Right, we had 2 baseball state championships, which were really very difficult to accomplish. Had great players, got some breaks along the way, and then the 2 Final Four football teams, that was kind of the pinnacle of those 2. The same thing, just, you know, playing better and better and better teams as you go along in the playoffs, and the camaraderie that builds up. And when you get to the tournament, you're missing things, right? There's senior dinners you have to miss. There's, you know, maybe the night after the prom, there's a game. And so I think the joint sacrifice is an important part of the experience of athletics in high school. Yeah, I think what makes Country Day special is the way it combines academics and athletics, and I suppose arts, although I wasn't involved in that a lot, but I counted it up the other night, and I went to over 100 high school plays as a spectator, and so I think purgatory will be short-lived for me. I think I've done my penance. No, I think Country Day really combines both, keeps a good balance between the two, which isn't always easy, especially in this modern era of kind of an overemphasis of athletics and a specialization. We always had multi-sport athletes, and that's why we were able to be successful. The basketball coach, Howard Brownstein, would wait for my football players kind of anxiously as we went in the playoffs, and he couldn't start his practice when everybody else was. But I think he would admit that he had better teams because he was waiting for these better athletes to show up. And the same thing for me in baseball. I had to wait for the basketball team to get through the playoffs, and I had to start my practices a little bit later with some of my better players. But my worst baseball teams were the ones I had right away because he got beat in the second round of the playoffs. And the best ones I had was when I had to wait for these good athletes. So I think sharing of athletes at a small school like this is really important. Now, when I first started teaching at a boarding school in Connecticut, the advice, you're going to be wearing different hats: dorm master, coach, teacher, and a variety of other hats. And so somebody said, you have to be able to put on different hats. And I had a very wise older teacher say, you have only one hat. That's your hat. And it'll fit into wherever you need to do. And you don't try to become something in this context and something different in another one. You just be yourself.
But yeah, if there's one thing I would take away from Coach Dunn is how to win, how to be a winner, how to lose as well, with character and integrity.
He's the guy that I can think of the most that helped me understand what it was to be a man, what it was to take responsibility, what it was to work hard, what it was to be committed and dedicated to what you're doing, and to stay focused and in the moment. And that was Coach Dunn. Like the lessons could go on and on about all the things that he taught us. Just if you were going to design a coach on a computer, it would spit out Tim Dunn, right? Clothes and all. Same shorts, same shirt, same whistle, same hat. Be Tim Dunn.